closes the season, Kevin Willis has emerged from his shell. Jekyll and Hyde no more, the league leader in rebounds is fulfilling the occasional promise he's shown in his 8 NBA seasons. Tonight, Willis and Dominique hope to stop the fluttering.
Kevin Willis is a former NBA power forward / center, most notable for his impressively long career, playing from 1984 to 2007. During that span, he played 1,424 games for 8 different teams. But before we can analyze his career, we must pick up from the start. This is C-Ball B-Ball, and welcome to Play Report. Kevin Alvin Willis was born in Los Angeles, California, but grew up in Detroit where he would attend Pershing High School. Kevin wouldn't join the basketball team until his junior season. After graduation, Willis would go to play ball at the Division II school Jackson College in Jackson County, Michigan, but would transfer to Michigan State after only 1 year. Willis would play his next 3 years there. Michigan State would perform okay during his 3-year stint, but he would get the chance to play alongside other professional talents, such as Scott Skiles and Sam Vincent. He also credits his former coach, Judd Heathcote, with being the man to teach him discipline. Willis would finish his college career averaging 10 points, 7 rebounds, and a block on 27 minutes per game. After college, Kevin would enter himself into the 1984 NBA draft where he would be chosen by the Atlanta Hawks with the 11th pick. Kevin's rookie season wasn't anything special, but in the following years he would quickly become known for his strength and tenacity on the boards. As a matter of fact, Kevin Willis' sheer strength had a lasting effect on Pistons coach Chuck Daly, who, after witnessing his team get manhandled by Kevin Willis, dropped his team's power forwards in the offseason and replaced them with Rick Mahorn, beginning the creation of the Bad Boy Pistons. By his 3rd year in the league, Willis was averaging 16 points and 11 rebounds a game. From there, it was smooth sailing until the 1988 to 1989 season that would see Kevin Willis miss the whole season. It started when Willis cracked a bone in his foot. He was expected to come back sometime in January. However, no such comeback would occur, as the Hawks would indefinitely suspend him without pay. Kevin had been missing team functions and rehabilitation therapy. However, the final blow would come when Kevin would show up to a Hawks game, only to leave before the game began. Stan Kasten, Hawks GM and president, would state that he warned Willis that if he was late to the game then he would be suspended without pay. Kevin wouldn't come back until the next season. The next important moment would come in the 91-92 season, where Kevin Willis would receive his only All-Star and All-NBA selection of his career. During this season, he would average 18 points and, most impressively, 15.5 rebounds. To put this in perspective, in the past 40 years, only DeAndre Jordan and Dennis Rodman have averaged more rebounds in a season. I don't have facts to back this next claim up, but I'm also sure Kevin Willis has the record for the most rebounds per game in the modern era without leading the league, as Rodman would average 18.7 rebounds per game in the same year. During this season, Willis would also eclipse 30 rebounds twice. Going back to 1982, he's one of only 2 players to have multiple games with 30-plus rebounds. Kevin's next 2 years would play out with some more impressive rebounding numbers, putting up 12.9 rebounds in 93 and then 12 rebounds in 94. Then comes the 94-95 season, when Kevin Willis and a first-round pick would get traded to Miami for Grant Long, Steve Smith, and a second-round pick. This trade was received so poorly by the Heat fanbase that it became a contributing factor to Pat Riley being hired the next season. Kevin Willis would get traded to the Warriors 1 year later, then to Houston just 1 year after that. As you can tell, this was the beginning of Kevin's time as an NBA journeyman. Kevin was 34 by the time he got to Houston and was already slowing down a little. Still, the Rockets would reach the conference finals during Kevin's first year there, with him putting up decent backup center numbers. This would mark Kevin's first time reaching the conference finals. The Rockets would have significantly less success the next year, and Kevin would be traded to the Raptors during the 1998 offseason. At this point, Kevin was reaching normal retirement age for a guy of his talent level. However, Kevin was still in noticeably great shape, and he was coming off a season with the Rockets where he averaged 16-8, so he would continue to play in the league for a while. A long while. From age 36 to 39, he played for the Raptors, Nuggets, and again for the Rockets. However, nothing important would happen in these years, so I'll just skim over them. But something very important would happen at age 40. It was the 2002 to 2003 season, and Kevin had recently been signed on to the Spurs. Now, as any sports fan knows, the early 2000 Spurs were simply unstoppable, being coached by the legendary Greg Popovich and headlined by Tim Duncan, also known as the greatest power forward of all time. Of course, this year was no different, with the Spurs finishing the season 60-22 and winning the NBA Finals without ever going to a Game 7. Sadly, there isn't much to talk about whenever it comes to Kevin Willis during this season, as he would only play 11 minutes per game in the regular season and 5 minutes per game during the playoff. But most importantly, Kevin Willis finally got the ring he had been playing 18 years for. Willis is still tied for the second oldest player to ever win a championship at 40. Kevin would play one more year for the Spurs, get bounced out of the second round by Shaq and Kobe, sign back with the Hawks, then finally retire at the ripe old age of 42 with the team where everything began. Until he decided to come back 1 year later, play 5 games with the Mavs, and then truly retire at the age of 44. Welcome everybody to the unscripted part of the video where I just talk. And in this part, I'll be putting Kevin Willis' career in perspective. And I'll start off with the fact that I feel like this guy probably is underrated in a lot of people's eyes. I don't know personally if I'd call him underrated, because a part of me does think that, like, to be fair, no part of his career was really like spectacular. You know, he had the one season where he averaged 15.5 rebounds, which obviously is, you know, like historically important. But other than that, it's like, yeah, the Hawks teams he was on, like, they were very good, especially while he was there. Of course, he did have help. We have like Doc Rivers, Dominique Wilkins. There's like 3 years of Moses, and weirdly enough, like a really, really old Sidney Moncrief, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, other than that, we move on. Obviously, he wins the championship with the Spurs. It's nice that he got it, but obviously the Spurs would have got it without him too. No disrespect to him, of course. But, yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. In this next part, I'm going to be going over the upsides and the downsides of Kevin Willis. Okay, to start with the upsides, obviously rebounding is one. I mean, like I said earlier, the guy literally had one of the best rebounding seasons in NBA history. But past that, his defense, he was a good defender, despite the fact that he had a short wingspan and small hands, especially for his size. The dude was like 7 foot tall. 240 also, which is another upside. The guy was stupidly strong. He was pretty much like a 7 foot Ben Wallace. That's what he looked like. For downsides, they didn't really seem like a gaping hole in his game or anything like that. You know, there wasn't really an issue that was like huge. From what I could tell, I mean, he kind of had bad field goal percentage for, you know, a power forward / center, especially for one that was, you know, solely a paint player on offense. Other than that, like I said, I mean, I think he had a 6'10" wingspan, which is a -2 inch wingspan, because, you know, he's 7 foot tall, and that's pretty bad. But obviously it didn't really affect him that much, because he seemed like, you know, the guy definitely seemed like he was a plus defender. I mean, no one's, as far as I could see online, it's like no one ever thought that his defense was like an issue or anything like that. So if it didn't hurt him, I guess it's not really a downside. But whatever. Anyway, bye. Thank you for watching.